Melody, it's really lovely to talk to you today for She Can. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Um, okay, so what I currently do is two things. I have developed over the years a deep industry expertise in anything to do with the learning industry, but more specifically, the digital component of it all. So you might have heard of a term called EdTech, educational technology. So that's very much my field. It's very broad, but think of it as Duolingo on your phone as an app to learn a new language, all the way to a solution like The Grid that is more an enterprise solution to help employees reskill or upskill. So it's quite a range, yes, range remit. So today I've got a company called MPA Education that does two things. I offer consultancy services to companies in the space, institutions, investors who need my advice on, it can be anything from strategy to partnerships, fundraising for startups. And so that's very much the consultancy piece of MPA Education. And then there's also an investment piece. So we also invest in companies in that specific space. And we currently have a portfolio of 10 companies dedicated to what we call the future of learning and future of work.
It sounds so interesting. I want to talk for 4 more hours and know exactly what each of these companies do. Melody, tell us a little how you got there. What was your journey? How did you come out of school? How did you know what you wanted to do? Tell us a little bit of how you got to where you are today.
Okay, so I would say my journey, I tend to see it as an unusual one in the sense that it's very much sort of go with the flow type of thing. If you look at my LinkedIn, you're like, wait, what? She worked in the boat industry? So let me walk you through the journey. So at school, I was very much interested in mathematics. That's where I was my strongest. And so I did a scientific baccalaureate back in France. I'm Belgian, but moved to France when I was a teenager. So anyways, from there, I thought, okay, well, let's go and read mathematics at uni. So went to do a master's in mathematics. But then I was like, wait, so what am I going to do with all these math? And I thought, well, I've got a passion for sailing. So what about putting sailing boats and mathematics together? And it's true that I had kept a module of fluid mechanics as well as my studies. So it did work well. And my first job was in the south of France. I didn't choose Brittany for obvious reasons, and went rather south in the sun and worked for a yacht design company to do all of the naval engineering stuff. So aerodynamism, dynamics of the boat, stability, all of these calculations for the boats. So very much combining my scientific background, mathematics, mechanics, with sailing boats. So that was quite fun. And then I moved to London, and there I couldn't really find what I wanted to do in the boat industry. I needed to be in Southampton by the sea, and I really wanted to be in London. So I broadened my search back to civil engineering. I worked for an engineering consultancy, and one thing leading to another, I then got Kinetic. It's the research agent. It used to be the research agency for the Ministry of Defense in the UK. They sponsored my PhD in mechanical engineering. So it's just unfolded and happened. And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's do this. I'm being paid to have another degree on my CV. Let's go for it. And did that. It was great. So very much working on ultrasonics in industry. But then after all of that, I'm like, wait a second. Do I want a career in academia? No, not really. That's not me. Do I want a career in engineering? No. So I took a step back, did a bit of work. I recommend a book that helped me. It's called Brand You, and it's very practical exercises to help me find where I belonged and what I needed to do, because I was raised in a way that my mother always told us, do what you enjoy doing the most and be financially independent. So I had these two things in my head. Okay, if you do what you enjoy doing the most, you're on a good track to then be financially independent, because it's fulfilling, right? It's going to come together. So this book was great in helping me point and identify and surface the fact that my true passion was education. So I've been teaching math since the age of 16 to younger, children, and then it's true that explaining very complex problems into very simple words, and to anything about transmission of knowledge, and now on a daily basis with children, obviously you can do that, answer all their questions. It's a joy. So that's where I thought I belonged, and I got increasingly frustrated about the state of the educational industry and system that hasn't been updated since the Industrial Revolution. So I thought, okay, there needs to something to be done, and I wanted to play a role in the transformation the whole industry was and it's still going through. And I thought educational technology could be a good fit for my profile, being a bit of a geek myself. So I thought, okay, EdTech, great. And I mapped the whole landscape. A company was, making a lot of noise, had raised a lot of money, was opening the London office. So I joined them. It was perfect timing. Stayed with them for 4 years, and that was the start of my whole journey in the edtech world as an operator for a scale-up, so a company that had raised a lot of money. Then I was hired by a fund who wanted someone with edtech industry expertise and network to help them set up their investments in edtech before starting my own company. And I also co-founded a company in the learning industry in the last 2 years. So yes, exactly. So operator, investor, founder. Here we go. I got the full.
I love it. It absolutely full circle. Isn't that amazing? Melody, that was amazing to listen to your story. I think it's an incredible story. I'd love to know a tiny bit more. The consultancy, obviously you consult companies and investors, etc. The companies you invest in, tell us a little bit. Is there a focus? Tell us a little bit more details about that.
So yes, the focus is the following. If you look at what the educational system is doing, and all these graduates that get out of this system, they are absolutely not job ready. And there's what we call the skills gap that is massive. So corporates struggle to find people with the right skills, and these graduates do not have those skills. And so I'm very much looking at how can we address that challenge and tackle that skills gap. And if you think about it, you've got different points in the education where you can have an impact. So what I call K-12, which is the primary and secondary school system, it's extremely tricky because it's still very much controlled by government, national curriculum, national and local context. So there are things to be done, but it's very slow moving and a lot of different stakeholders there. Then see it as what I call the 16-year-old plus, because mandatory schooling is until 16. And that's where you've got a bit more room to maneuver. And that would be my main focus. It would be that, and then adult learning, lifelong learning, upskilling, reskilling, but all the way to mental health and well-being in the workplace. So very much all of that would be my main focus. Then never say never, there are outliers. And in my portfolio, I've got a wonderful company that's looking at teaching STEAM, so science, technology, to very, very young children. But it's a B2B, it's more training the teachers for that. So it's an odd one out, because I would be focusing on consumer markets, so B2C solutions, and B2B enterprise solutions, so corporates. I would tend to avoid B2I, business to institutions, so companies who are trying to sell their solution, their product to a school or a university. It's that's not.
It's not interesting. Melanie, thank you for explaining that. I really am so impressed, and I think I've been running these charitable projects in Ethiopia for a long time, and that's exactly what we've experienced, and how much backup they need and help they need once they actually quit school at any age. That could be 16, 17, 18, and how they need help, and also after university. So it's very interesting that you said that. It's exactly our experience. Melody, what motivates you to do that? What is your motivator going forwards to really disrupt this space?
What motivates me is really to have a positive impact on society. And how to do that, I do get very motivated by helping people find their life purpose in the first place, and then guiding them to be on the path towards that purpose. So there's a first sort of that self-awareness piece, because what I found is that we're very much formatted by society, our parents, and they put us on tracks. But until you wake up and ask yourself, who am I? Where do I belong? What is my purpose in life? You have to deconstruct all that formatting and belief system almost to figure out, to reconnect with your inner self and like, okay, where do I belong? So I tend to get motivated and passionate about helping people go through that process, finding that purpose, because I truly believe that once you find it, everything flows, because you're in the right place and you're totally aligned with what your life purpose is. And so I truly believe that then, only beautiful things can come out of that. So yes, and so what motivates me is to do that for others. But then back to my own life purpose, what would that be? Well, from all of my journey you heard about already, I think it would be to ensure that the capital, there's so much money out there. I think that I see as my role to make sure some of that money is allocated to those diverse, innovative projects that are being developed to address the goal around education equity and decent work for all that the United Nations SDGs have very well defined. So I think that would be where I see myself playing a role.
Well, you play a big role, and I love that you're a mathematician and an engineer, and it sounds so philosophical. I absolutely love that. Melody, what do you think is your superpower? What do you think you have that makes you so good at what you do?
So I tend to come back a lot to that whole self-awareness piece, because if you have that ability to take that step back and observe yourself and understand, why do I behave this way? Why did I respond that way? And so, well, it's very, if you're familiar with it, obviously it's close to the Buddhist philosophy, but it's very much that self-awareness of what was that my ego, speaking, or was I triggered by what that person said? Oh, wait, why was that? What's in me that, meant I was triggered? And I think if you have that self-awareness and can question these things on a daily basis, I think it is a superpower. It is a superpower because you can grow as a human being. You can improve yourself. You can change behaviors can be changed. I mean, we're soft wired, so the sky's the limit as what you can achieve. So yeah, here you go.
It makes you step into your power, doesn't it? That's sort of what happens when you got that level of self-awareness. Melody, what would your top tips be for other women?
My top tips would be two. trust yourself, follow your intuition. We are gifted with an extremely strong intuition, and that's our internal radar that shouldn't be underestimated. And I'm talking about personal experience here, because as you've seen, I'm a sort of scientist, mathematician, so very rational, analytical brain. And then there's this another side of me that is extremely intuitive. And sometimes in the past, my analytical brain, and still does, is so overpowering that it, supersedes whatever's going on the intuition, gut feeling, what feels right, what doesn't feel right. And I have to remind myself all the time, consciously, to go back to that inner sort of intuition and gut feeling. So I would really, really give that as a tip, because of my own learning experience, to trust yourself, follow your intuition. Of course, not to worry, your intuition is informed subconsciously by your analytical and rational brain that is feeding these data points. So don't think that going only on intuition, you're gonna go zigzag and be totally you see what I mean, sort of not rooted and grounded. Not at all. I think it's a powerful thing we have, that we should trust. And so believe in yourself, and always remind yourself and tell yourself, I am good enough. I am good enough. There's something with us women that is just thinking that, the whole imposter syndrome and all these things. It's like, no. Just step into your power. You are perfect as you are.
Thank you for saying that, Melody. Oh my God, I love it. Yesterday, I was in a session in the evening with an American woman, Ray Bendewald, who does the art of circling, and she said, if it's not a full body yes, so it's the intuition that feeds your whole body, if that isn't a yes, then don't do it. And I thought that was such a great thing, and that's exactly what you described. Melody, last question. What are your plans or dreams for your future, for your career?
Okay, so for my career, I think I'm very much actually at this stage asking myself whether to stay as a standalone entity, MPA Education, raise more capital, deploy it in the right place to have that impact I referred to earlier. So actually stepping into my power. But as you know, as we're all human beings, it's like, oh, I wish I had a business partner or a buddy to do this with. I think that going solo requires a lot of stamina and resilience. I have these, but I think I truly believe we're stronger together. So finding the right person to do this with would be ideal. So actually, your question was about what is your dream and plans for the future. So I think, yes, so I can answer that in this way. My dream is to find my tribe, my perfect sort of business partner, whether he or a she, to pursue that life purpose and mission. I think that would be it.
I love that, Melody. Thank you. You're going to find it, and I know that. And if there's anything we can do to help, we will. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you.